Hey everyone, we're going to be doing some parallax testing, particularly of this budget Feyachi V90. I did a video on the combo with the magnifier yesterday. That was just an initial impressions. So we're going to be doing a whole bunch of videos testing this thing from, on very many different things. So what I'm going to do is this thing's basically locked into this sled over here, and I have a target at 100 yards, and I'm going to be moving my head back and forth from one edge of the glass to the other to see if the red dot moves. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to show you all the different optics that we're going to compare it to. So if you're interested in any one in particular, you can kind of like, you'll know that's coming up basically. Okay, so we're doing the Feyachi V90, and we'll start over here. We're going to be doing the Holosun 510C. We're going to be doing the Holosun 503G with the ACSS reticle. Okay. We're going to be doing EOTech. Okay, we'll be checking that, comparing it. Okay, we're going to be looking at the Leupold Freedom RDS. Okay, we're going to be looking at the Trijicon. So that's the MRO HD. And we're going to be looking at the SIG Romeo 7. Okay, so we're going to do the same test on all of these, checking for parallax shift at 100 yards. So that video is coming right up. Hello everyone. Yesterday I did an initial impressions on this Feyachi V90 and the magnifier that comes with it in the combo. And one of my viewers asked me to do a parallax test. Okay, they said they might be interested in it and they wanted to see a parallax test. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay. So this video is going to be very limited in the scope. I'm going to be checking the parallax on this, and I'm going to be comparing it to a bunch of other different red dots. Here you go. This is the company, and that's the name, V90 red dot sight. Okay, so you know what we're working with here. So I've already been through this, so I kind of have an idea of what to expect. But I didn't write anything down, so I'm going to go through all these rifles again. Because that's a lot easier than just reading, writing it down and just reading it off to you guys. So the way I'm doing it, make sure you guys are in the camera. Yeah, you're decently in the camera. Maybe we'll rotate a little bit more this way. Okay, so I have a target out at 100 yards. The target is about 18 inches tall. Okay. And it's about 12 inches wide, so I'm using that as a reference point. Okay, and the targets are painted like the targets that you see over here. So the red stripe, for example, in the middle is 4 inches wide. So at 100 yards, that's 4 MOA. So I have really good reference points to get an idea of if there's any parallax shift, how much it is. Okay, so with the Feyachi V90, which is the first one we're going to look at. Okay, let me line you up. So I'm going to have to adjust each of these rifles to get the right height. So I've already been through this, so what I found is on all of these rifles, if there's a parallax shift, it's different if I'm moving my head left to right or up and down. So I'm going from one end of the scope to the other end of the scope. So with the V90, a little higher up. As I move my head up and down, moving the dot from one end to the other, there's as much of a 12-inch shift at 100 yards, okay? But when I go side to side, there's hardly any shift, okay? So up and down, there's going to be as much as a 12-inch shift. Side to side, I think it maxes out at about 3 inches, okay? So again, this is a budget $80 optic. Okay, so let's compare it to some other ones. Okay, so let's start with something expensive. Where are you? Where are you? I know I had you out here somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Let's start with the EOTech. EOTech. All right. Yeah, actually, let me show it to you guys too, so you can see what we're working with. Okay, so that's the EOTech. So fairly expensive optic. I think it's somewhere like in the $700 range right now. All right, so let me get the height. Okay, so up and down, no parallax shift. Side to side, I'm getting, I think, as much as 10 inches. Okay, so with the EOTech, as I said, up and down, no shift. Side to side, it's as much as 10 inches. It might even be 12 inches. I mean, it's hard. I'm not using a magnifier because I want to kind of keep everything consistent. So that's what the EOTech is doing. Okay. Let's look at what's next over here. Let's look at the Leupold. This is Leupold Freedom RDS. Okay, this is the one with the bullet drop compensator. I forget what this is. It's probably somewhere in the $300 range. I can't remember. I mean, but with Leupold, we are talking name brand. You guys are gonna have to bear with me. I have to adjust this mount for every rifle because they all got like different rails and stuff up front and different stocks in the back. And I'm moving the dot to the same position for each of these. Okay. So let me see if I can tune this. It's a little too bright. Oh yeah. So up and down, it's as much as 16 inches. So this target here from the base to the shoulder that you see right there is 16 inches. So I'm covering that entire distance, 16 inches up and down, and left and right. Yeah, left and right, it's moving the whole 12 inches, left and right. So it's moving the whole length of the whole width of that target at 100 yards, okay? So yeah, this one, this Leupold has plenty of parallax shift. All right, let's try this one. Who's this now? This is Trijicon. What does that say? RMO HD. All right, let's see what this guy does. What happened? Did my dot die? It was working like 10 minutes ago. I really don't like the dials. There we go, got it. Yeah, I do not like dials. Do yourself a favor, guys. Try to avoid dials. They are a pain in the ass. And what happens is a lot of times the contact points lose contact. And I've seen these dial styles where like they'll work on one setting, but they're not going to work on another because it's lost contact. So yeah, avoid the dials, get the digital ones. All right. Basically, I'm lowering it. I'm trying to get the dot as low as possible so we can get a fine aiming point. Go the other way now. There we go. All right, same point. Moving everything to exactly the same point down here. All right, so let's see, up and down. About 3 inches up and down. Side to side, we are at least 8 inches. Okay, so up and down on the Trijicon, maybe 3 inches, but the side to side we got like close to 10 inches. Okay, I mean I can't be like super exact with the measurements, but it's in that ballpark. All right, let's put you down. All right, what do we got here? All right, let's try. This is the Sig Romeo 7. Let's try this guy out. It's a very big optic. For dot only, it's a very big optic. All right. Let's see what we got to do here. Nope. Yeah, extend the stock, I think, a little bit. Okay, I got in the same exact spot. Okay, so let's go up and down. There's hardly any motion, hardly any shift. I think up and down there might be like maybe 2 inches. Really, really hard to tell. I'm going from extreme to extreme. Side to side, maybe 2 inches. Despite its like huge bulk, I've seen very little parallax shift on this Romeo 7. All right, let's try some Holosuns now. Let's try the 510C. Now, this is a circle dot. It's a 2 MOA dot with a 65 MOA circle. So since I am talking to Feyachi, I'm going to very much recommend that they develop an optic that has a 65 MOA circle with the 2 MOA dot. So I'm going to try and convince him as best as I can to develop that. That 65 MOA circle is really useful for fast target acquisition and also for range estimating. Right? You can use that circle to judge the distance based on, let's say, the size of a man at different distances. I've done a separate video on that. Okay, so up and down, no shift. Maybe 1 inch, maybe 2 inches, but almost none. But side to side, that's where I see shift on this. Side to side. It looks like it's about at least 6 inches. All right, so the 510C is shifting about 6 inches side to side. Now, that's a really big window, so I got to cut them a little bit of slack for that, right? Because there's a lot of room for shift there, right? Let's try this one, okay? Actually, I don't remember. Did I show you guys the 510C? I don't know if I showed it to you guys earlier. So there's the 510C. Just so you guys know, I do use a riser in there because I like having everything 2 3/4 inches above the bore, right? So there's a little riser plate in there. This way, I have a 1/3 co-witness on most of my optics. All right, let's do this one. Now this one here is the Holosun 503G, and this is like one of my. This is a very useful optic, especially if you're shooting at distance with a magnifier, because it has a chevron with 3 dots underneath it for a bullet drop compensator. And I've actually had this out to 500 yards several times. That bullet drop works really well. That's definitely something I want to try and get Feyachi to develop if they can. Give us a red dot, you know, with a chevron and 3 dots or something similar. Maybe a big chevron and like 3 little chevrons underneath that maybe match up to the shoulder of a person at different distances. I would love to get Feyachi to give us a budget optic that has a budget red dot optic that has a built-in bullet drop compensator. So this one, side to side, up and down, hardly any shift, maybe at best 1 inch. I mean, there's a little bit of, I can see a little bit of movement. And with this one, because it has that chevron, okay, it has a very fine aiming point. Okay, so again, the reason why, like, I use this to shoot 500 yards because I have that fine tip. So if there was any parallax shift on this, it would like stand way out because of that fine tip. And there's hardly anything there. From what I have seen, this optic, this Holosun 503G, I think it's been discontinued because I have not seen that anywhere. I think that because I think Primary Arms owns the right to that specific reticle design, and I think that they're going to be using it exclusively on their optics instead of licensing it over to Holosun. So maybe Feyachi can work out a deal with Primary Arms and use this reticle, or develop their own. Okay, develop their own. I mean, the idea of a red dot with a bullet drop compensator is not something that's like, you know, unheard of. You know. So anyway, let's go back to our main subject here, the Feyachi V90. Let's take another look at this. So side to side, like there's almost nothing, like I said earlier. It's like maybe 1 inch, maybe 2 the most. Up and down is where I see like, yeah, almost a full 12, maybe even 16 inches way at the edge of the glass. So up and down, there's definitely a parallax shift. So I think all of these optics had some significant, they all have some parallax shift. I think the one that had the least was this 503G, the Holosun 503G, which is not even like their most expensive. I think this one was like $200 when I was getting them. I think I've seen them as high as $250. So, you know, definitely in that budget class. But anyway, as far as this V90, I mean, for an $80 optic, you know, here's the thing. You got to keep your face in the right position, okay? So we're talking about extreme positions where you're doing like really like, you know, extreme stuff where your face would be off the gun, right? Like if you're trying to shoot under a barricade or something, or under a barrier. But if you're shooting with your face on the gun, all right, you're not gonna, you know, I mean, the parallax really shouldn't be that much of an issue. Now, when you put the magnifier behind it, like I was shooting this thing yesterday with a magnifier, the magnifiers usually have a very tight eye box. So that eye box, that constriction, is also going to keep your face on the gun when you're shooting further distances. Okay, so if you're shooting at further distances with a magnifier, that's gonna kind of make sure that that you don't have that parallax shift, because it's gonna force you to you know, keep your face in the right position. So I'll show you guys the glass in the front. So I want to thank one of my viewers that made this suggestion. I think this was a very useful, you know, thing to point out and look into it and compare it to some of the other red dots that are out there. So yeah, I'm planning to do a whole bunch of videos on this and a few other Feyachi, you know, optics, and also, you know, I'm using my video two ways. You know, my videos, number one, to get information out to potential buyers about the optics, but also to get information out to Feyachi, to their development department, you know, for future products. So you know, that's why I don't charge for any of this. You know, I don't. I do have a discount code, which I'm going to put in the description, where you do get 20% off. It's SAFA 20. Okay, but I don't get any kickbacks or anything from that. I don't benefit from that. So this is purely a benefit for you guys out there that are buying. Okay, so I'm looking to benefit the viewers, particularly people that are beginners, just getting into the gun hobby, that are looking for budget options. And I'm also looking to supply useful feedback back to Feyachi, who I value very much as the developer of budget optics, because again, most of my customers, most of the people I train are beginners, are people interested in budget. So they're directly serving the people that I do business with, right? And I make money off of. So that's how I benefit from doing these videos. Okay, so again, in the description, there'll be a discount code, SAFA 20, for your benefit, so you can get a discount if you're interested in this optic. Okay? Thanks for watching, and like I said, I'll be doing a lot more videos, so if you're not a member of the channel, subscribe so you can keep up with the new videos that I put up.